Barbados is working to improve the conditions of domestic workers. This from Labour Minister Senator Dr. Esther Bayersuku. She was speaking yesterday during a workshop on reporting to the International Labour Organization. Dr. Bayersuku said the convention came into force a month ago, bringing with it a set of revolutionary standards for workers in the informal sector.
It is therefore my desire to have this instrument now ratified as early as possible and bring this area of work, which we know is dominated by women, into the civilized world as far as labor practices are concerned. And we know of stories from around the world where domestic workers are treated in less than humane standards. And I must say, even here in Barbados, we are concerned about the treatment of some of our domestic workers. We have begun this process for ratification. As I mentioned earlier, our procedure in Barbados is to first ensure that legally and administratively we can implement, and that analysis is now being completed.
Dr. Bayersuku has warned against lowering of labour standards as countries try to become more competitive. This, along with efficiency and productivity, have been identified as the best way for countries to grow their economies as the world comes out of the global recession. Dr. Bayersuku said it is important that a minimum labour standard be set and maintained.
As we talk about competitiveness in Barbados, as we are looking to emerge from this recession, we have to be careful that that is not the case, that we are not putting pressure on our producers and our employers to lower their labor standards. As we talk about productivity also, which looks at the output against the input in terms of man hours, we have to ensure that the labor standards are also maintained, that it is not just competitiveness and productivity for the sake of competitiveness and productivity, but that we ensure that we maintain the decent work standards to which we all ascribe.
Local health officials should have access to the vaccine that guards against human papillomavirus or HPV by January. Health Minister John Boyce says he has just signed off on a paper that recommends its approval to Cabinet. The vaccine is given to preteen girls starting at age 11 to protect against the virus that leads to cancers predominantly in the cervix, throat and mouth.
We've now got the comments of the Ministry of Education, and they fully support the vaccine, the introduction of the vaccine, and we're now going to engage, once Cabinet approves, we will engage in a public awareness program to discuss, to make people more aware of the benefits of the vaccine before the implementation. The plan is in January, once that approval is given.
The Cave Hill School of Business is moving to provide scholarships to deserving students that it says may be facing hardships in financing their tuition. In an effort to raise some much-needed funds, the Cave Hill School of Business at the UWI Alumni Network, known as Kwan, hosted a dinner and fundraising auction. Administration Manager of CHSB UWI, Sharon Kinch, said many people have passed through the school and are playing a part in the success of businesses at home and abroad.
When we look at the work and achievements of our alumni, regionally and internationally, there's a clear indication that our programs have encouraged the development of people to enable regional and international success of global businesses. So we are proud of this, and you as alumni should be proud of it as well.
Ms. Kinch added that there is much more is planned through their Give Back drive.
We are proposing 5 small projects in 10 islands. We already have alumni in the territories mentioned on the flyer. They are on board with us with this project, and we are working to get more of them on board with us as soon as possible. These projects are small, and we expect them to be manageable, meaningful, fulfilling, and developmental for all involved, alumni and the lucky participants regionally.
And Vice President of Kwan, Raoul Williams, believes that alumnus should give back to their respective organizations.
Remember what this institution have done for you, and just look and say, well, the institution did this for me, let me do this for the person who's coming behind me. And if we can just get together and join the body, you can go on Facebook. Sharon can give you the information. Join the body and let us, you might not be able to do it financially, but you can also help.
An expert in the management of wastewater in the region says diseases caused by pollution of coastal waters due to sewage costs government billions of dollars. However, Program Officer at UNEP Caribbean Environment Program, Christopher Corbin, believes Caribbean governments can recoup their investments multiple times. He made the remarks during a plenary session discussion on the protocol concerning pollution from land-based sources and activities, or the LBS protocol, at the Hilton Hotel.
These are some of the figures globally in terms of the cost from pollution of our coastal waters from sewage and from untreated wastewater. Billions of US dollars annually. And yet I've seen a recent study that suggests that investments in sanitation and wastewater treatment can bring returns of between 3 times to 34 times the investment. Why aren't we investing in wastewater? If there is such a benefit in terms of cost, why aren't we doing more?
Mr. Corbin says there are best practices for managing land-based resources, noting that almost a dozen countries have ratified the accord, and he believes that Barbados may be the exception in terms of wastewater treatment in the region.
10 countries have ratified, and in particular, of course, I am concerned that some of our smaller islands, which you think would have the greatest to lose, have not yet come on board. And this is really an opportunity for us to have a common voice in terms of Barbados, Dominica, St. Kitts Nevis, St. Vincent. Their wastewater challenges, if not greater than many of the others who have signed on and are now benefiting.
Meantime, for the second year running, Jamaica has won the regional water tasting and rum tasting competition. 7 countries, Grenada, Montserrat, Barbados, Jamaica, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines took part in the competition. Second Vice President of CWWA, Alphonsus Daniel, says interest in the competition is growing.
This year we had the NWC winning for a second time. That's the National Water Corporation of Jamaica. We don't know what they're doing. Other utilities will try and find out so that we could do the same. I encourage Barbados to do the same. So next time when we move to, we're going to St. Lucia next year, God's willing. And I hope Barbados could win the water tasting competition.